All right, good evening. I'd like to open the October 4th meeting of the Wakefield Conservation Commission. We'll do roll call. Jimmy. Jim, you're muted. Peter.
Here.
Ken.
Here.
Ken, you are the co-host also. Silvana.
Yes, here.
Teresa.
Here.
Jim.
Here.
And we know Paul is on vacation. First up is the approval of the minutes from September 20th. Any questions, corrections? And if not, would somebody like to make a motion to approve those minutes?
I'll make the motion.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Okay, any discussion? All right, all in favor? Teresa,
Yes.
Silvana,
Yes.
Peter,
Yes.
Ken,
Yes.
Jim,
Yes.
and I also approve those minutes. All right, first up for 7 o'clock is 100 Hemlock Road. Do we have a file number? I don't know if we do.
No, you do not.
Okay. Northeast Metro Regional Vocational School, public hearing notice of intent for the demolition of the existing school, construction of a new school, parking lots, athletic fields, utilities, stormwater management system within bank, watering vegetative wetlands, the buffer zone, and the riverfront area. All right, who would like to lead us off?
For the project team, Mr. Chairman?
Sure.
Yes. Okay. My name is Kevin Nigro. I'm Managing Director with PMA Consultants. PMA is the owner's project manager representing the district, not only at this notice of intent, but throughout the whole project. So we are here tonight to kick off our notice of intent process for the construction of the new Metropolitan Regional Vocational School, as you said. And it's a tremendous opportunity for our whole team to be building a Voc Tech high school, as the need has been demonstrated in Massachusetts and many other states as well for a career tech education. We are here representing the Northeast Vocational School, which is made up of 12 different cities and towns. Our cities and towns are Chelsea, Malden, Woburn, Saugus, Stoneham, Revere, Melrose, Winchester, Winthrop, North Reading, Reading, and of course, our host community, Wakefield. With me tonight, I'd like to introduce our team. We have with us David Conway and Paige Simmons. They're our project manager and project engineer with Niche Engineering. We also have Andrea Kendall. She is a senior environmental specialist with LEC Environmental Consultants. And also with LEC is Dan Wells, our senior wildlife and wetlands scientist. We also have Carl Franceschi and Vlad Yavinsky with our project architects, DRA. And with me in PMA tonight is Joseph DeSantis, Marco Zappala, and Anthony Lopresti. Again, start off by thanking Rebecca. We did have a chance last week to meet with some of our project team members. And Rebecca, she helped us understand the meeting and the process. And I think it's going to make for a better presentation overall. And also, I think it resulted in a better NOI submission. So thank you, Rebecca. Our understanding, Mr. Chairman, was that our consultants would make a presentation. We'll first have the architects kick off the project because we thought it was, Rebecca thought it was important to give you a little background on the project and the overall site and understanding. We'd then go into a presentation specific to the jurisdictional wetlands, let our specialists take over. We would address, I hope tonight, something about a peer consultant, who that might be, and how we engage them. And then ultimately, we hope to schedule our first site visit. And of course, it's just a list of my understanding, but we're on board tonight with everyone here and our specialists so that we can answer any questions you may have. And I apologize, I left off one person, that's Neil Benner. He is with the Blaine Building Company. They are our project construction managers. So that by way of introduction and kickoff, thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. I apologize. I just put my camera on. I didn't realize it was off. So I'm going to kick it over to DRA, to Vlad and to Carl to start our presentation.
Thanks, Kevin. Dave, I don't know if you want to pull up the presentation. Can we do that, Mr. Chairman?
Yes, you're okay to share.
Can you share your screen, Dave?
Yes.
Thanks very much. So for those who aren't familiar with the project, I know Wakefield, obviously, as Kevin said, was one of the towns that needed to vote on this project, and you've probably seen some of this material before, but we're happy to be available and answer questions. We won't spend too much time on the architecture. We know that's not the subject of tonight's meeting necessarily, but this is a rendering of the building, the main entrance. As you come up the new driveway, it's a 4-story building there, housing the vocational shops and the academic classrooms. The overall building is somewhere around 380,000 square feet on 4 levels, actually with a lower level as well, sitting on top of the hill. We can go to the next slide, Dave. To put things in context, you can see the property that the school owns versus the immediate context.
I'm sorry, Carl, my computer's not advancing.
Okay, I believe I sent the backup version of the presentation to Joe DeSantis. Can Joe please share the screen? And he can take over the slides. If you could just prompt him, Carl.
There we go.
There we go.
There you go. Sorry about
So you can see highlighted in red is Northeast Schools property there. And in the sort of purple outline is the Breakart Reservation to the south and east of the school, separated by the power lines there. To the west of the school's property is the town of Wakefield's land for the high school and wooded areas there. To the north of the school property, you might also notice towards Water Street there that Breakart owns additional land there, which encompasses both the Mill River and the Saugus River, which crosses there. So you can see by this diagram, kind of the frontage the school has is Hemlock Road coming in from Wakefield High School and Farm Street on the south side of the property. The yellow area represents the amount of clearing and roughly the site of the proposed new school there. And again, just to put things in context for everyone. Just to also kind of give background on the project, it has been in the minds of the school district for a long time here. They've been considering this project for more than a dozen years, going back to when they first did a pre-feasibility study and thought about how can we expand the school. They continue to have a waiting list of students year after year. And they finally did get into the Massachusetts School Building Authority pipeline a couple of years ago, and we've been going through their very rigorous process. And one of the goals of the project for the school has been not just to improve the educational environment for the school and expand the enrollment, but also to increase the accessibility and safety of the school through a second access point. As many of you know, right now, the only access to the site is from Hemlock Road, using the same intersection that Wakefield High School uses to access their site, which is also the access on the Wakefield side of Breakart Reservation there. But having a single driveway obviously, causes issues with day-to-day access and certainly with emergency access to the site. So from the very beginning, in addition to the other programming requirements, the school has made it clear that one of their top priorities is getting a second access point to the site. And the design team, including our engineering partners, did look at alternatives here. And as part of the MSBA process, we did consider, alternative locations for the building as well. But in the end, the only alternative secondary access drive that really made sense was to the south there, sort of parallel to the power lines to Farm Street. We looked at going to the north, but you can see there are wetlands there. There's a flood zone, and there are two rivers to cross to reach Water Street. There's Breakout Reservation to the east. As we said, it does have a paved road through there. It's certainly not a very accessible road, but that was considered as well. But really, in the end, as we said, the driveway really made sense. So regardless of where the actual building project ended up being located on the site, the driveway was a requirement going to Farm Street. So with that, Dave, next. Just to walk through the existing conditions before we turn it over to Dave and his team. You can see that the location of the existing building is outlined in yellow there. That's the existing school, surrounded by its athletic fields, the baseball field, the football field, and track. Behind the school is a softball field and a practice field, kind of in low-lying areas. In front of the school, to the right on this slide, is the student parking area. And Hemlock Road is coming in from the top of the slide there. So the proposal is for a new school to be sited on the hillside there. And you can see that the new driveway coming in from the left from Farm Street threads its way through the site to the new school and back down the hill and connects to Hemlock Road. There is an upper parking area around the immediate building. There's a lower parking area serving the athletic fields, the future athletic fields, which will be constructed as well when the existing school is demolished. The power lines are to the bottom of this slide, parallel to northeast property line there. And you can see basically the flow of traffic. If we go to the next slide, we'll get a close-up of the immediate surroundings of the school building. The driveway at the bottom of the slide circulates around the building. You can see there with a school of this size, there are a number of drop-off areas and service areas for the vocational shops. It's separating bus drop-off from cars on the site and providing, as we say, service access to a number of entrances to the building. But the main entrance is on the right side there. The school does have a so-called customer entrance in the center of the building, and then to the right are the assembly spaces in the building, the gym and the auditorium, which have a dedicated events entrance, so that after hours on a Friday or Saturday night, when the rest of the school is closed, that entrance can be open and serve the public coming to access those kind of events. And behind the school, where it says bus pickoff and drop off number 5 there, that's an early education dedicated entrance. The school, as you might know, runs a preschool program, so that there are some dedicated parking and drop off areas for those parents and young kids on the back side of the building as well. And there is a connection, not only the driveway that continues down the hill to the right there, but there's a pedestrian walkway as well, served by stairs and a walkway through the woods in an accessible fashion to get from that lower parking area in the athletic fields back up to the school and the gym. So that's basically the layout of the building on the site. Dave and his team can go into much more detail, obviously, about the wetland resources, but one other illustration that just helps place the building. You can see the site section, which is drawn from Farm Street on the left up the hill to the new school there. There's a fairly significant grade change there in a significant distance. It's over some 800 feet from the building to our nearest neighbors there, and the town of Wakefield forested land is in between as well. And the grade change is in the vicinity of some 30 to 50 feet, depending on where on the site we are, coming from Farm Street up the hill there. So I think with that, we can probably get into the areas of jurisdiction for your committee. And Dave can talk about the existing wetland resources.
Thanks, Carl. So, Mr. Chair, as folks are aware, last year, as part of the preparation for this school project and this project process is the school filed an ANRAD with an ORAD, which was delivered in the summer of 2021. So I'm going to walk through the wetlands just for the public, for everyone who wasn't part of that process before. But just what we're going to do is walk through them there with the existing condition, and then I'll do it again quickly with the proposed conditions, so we can kind of see how they interact with the proposed development. So off of Farm Street, you have Wetland Series 1, which is the larger wetland, with a non-jurisdictional Wetland Series 2 just across the way. Just moving down through the page, actually we have blow up of these as well, so we'll show them a little bit more detail. A jurisdictional Wetland Series 3 with an associated bank Series B, and then 2 non-jurisdictional wetlands, 3A and 4, just to the north of it. So the north is really like page west. Moving deeper into the site, Wetland Series 5, which again, non-jurisdictional IVW, and a mostly off-site Wetland Series 10 with the buffer zone coming onto the school site. Then moving down into the developed portion, the currently developed portion of the site, we have the Wetland Series 6 and 7, which flow into the Breakheart Reservation. These are actually off-site. They're actually beyond the stone pillars, but the BVWs, the buffer zones extend into the school property. We then have the riverfront area associated with the Saugus River in the back, which is shown here in blue. And then there's associated BVW with that series. In the back of the school, this existing area is softball field and practice field. It's sure most folks are familiar with it, but it's tucked in the back a little bit, just in case folks haven't seen it. And then just continuing to move counterclockwise around the plan. Just to the left of left field in the existing baseball field, there's the Wetland Series 9 and associated BVW. So this is just off to the left of the existing baseball field. And just again, these are a closer look at those of the resource areas on the site, the associated buffer zones, and where they land on the site. And then I'll walk through this again real quick with the proposed development and the proposed impacts and mitigation. Again, the back of the school, the riverfront area, associated BVW, the wetlands associated that flow into the Breakheart, and then the existing baseball field with the existing wetland associated with that to the left of it. Now our proposed development with the wetlands shown. Again, I'll run through quick each one of these in a larger scale. We can zoom in on the impacts a little bit. So starting up at Farm Road with the access drive, we're impacting Wetland Series 3 and Wetland Series 1 with the roadway construction. The roadway where we had, especially in close proximity to any of the wetlands, even the non-jurisdictional ones, we've added walls to minimize any sort of impacts. But we did have some unavoidable impacts to these existing wetland series. So the red is areas where the construction is going to impact the existing wetlands, and the green is proposed mitigation areas or replication areas. So there's one associated with Wetland Series 1, and there's one associated with Wetland Series 3. Then I'm sure you're all familiar with this, and this is in the NOI as well, but it's just the general performance standards for the bordering vegetated wetlands. Just kind of like our thinking on where, on trying to minimize the impacts, and then also where to provide the mitigation. There's good guidance on how and where you provide the mitigation. So they need to be proximate to where you're taking them, on the same wetlands and the same elevations with the same groundwater. So really what you do, with the intent of getting them and also at least a 1-to-1 replacement, with the desire to be a healthier wetlands once the replication is in place. Standards for a bank was, we have a small impact on the bank, which we're mitigating by a culvert for the road with wing walls, but there is a small impact, and it really is, these are the performance standards for the bank, not impacting its physical stability or its water carrying capacity, and or the groundwater and surface water quality, and its ability to breed habitat, escape cover, and food for fisheries. And then we can go back. Actually, I might have. Here's the bank, and what's a little hard to see on this, but it's shown in more detail on the plans that you have in your plan set, is there's a culvert with wing walls here to minimize the impact of this roadway construction over this existing bank. Then moving down into where the school site is, we're using walls again to even eliminate potential impacts to the non-jurisdictional wetlands as we pass along them. And actually, this one is Series 10 is actually off-site with buffer zone impacts. A small piece of it is just over our property line. Moving down to the currently developed portion of the school site. Again, this is a little bit deceiving because this roadway is part of Breakheart Reservation in the drive. So the stone pillars are right about here. And these are wetlands that are where we have associated buffer zone impacts. Again, what we're doing here is the existing school will be demolished with the construction of new athletic fields and a new track. In the back of the site, we have the existing softball field and practice field. Those are currently proposed to stay as is, so really no impacts to the riverfront area or the buffer zone, the wetlands or the buffer zone associated with the Saugus River or Wetland Series 8. Just because I'm an engineer, these features are the larger stormwater detention systems that we've located throughout the site to mitigate the stormwater, to meet our stormwater goals for the project. And then for the baseball field, the impacts here are really just associated with, again, putting the new stormwater infrastructure underneath the baseball field. The baseball field will be restored in the existing footprint, and the buffer zone associated with this wetland runs through between third base and where the shortstop would stand in the existing baseball field, and curves back in. So that's a quick run through the wetland and the wetlands on site and how the program relates to them. Where the teams are available for questions, but I know we have some business ahead of us as far as like scheduling site visits, planning out maybe future meetings, whatever is the commission's pleasure, I guess, is how I would progress.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, one of the first things we want to discuss is the selection of a peer consultant for this project. And we've started that process already. Rebecca, would you like to give an update?
Sure. I'm not sure if Matt Byrne is on. There's a lot of names here. I haven't seen him. I know that he was doing field work today. all day today. And when I talked to him yesterday, he just gave kind of a guesstimate on what he would assume that a project like this would be. And he estimated about 6,500 for all of that work. I can pull up how he described it. He broke it down per hour, but I don't have a formal contract because he was not in the office on time and to provide that, but I will certainly have that for next time. I can read what he wrote. Sorry, just takes a second.
Could I ask you to just go back to that sharing and show the plan that shows the Hemlock Road going into the site? Is that possible?
So everyone sees my screen?
Yes.
All right. Let me back up. And you want to see,
I want to see where Hemlock Road, you had one picture there that showed Hemlock Road going into the school area.
a close-up or an overview?
An overview is fine.
All right, so here's Hemlock.
Okay, there it is there.
There it
And
is
then-
here. So the
Okay.
guard shack is right
Right,
here.
right. And then the breakout in, where you enter breakout is right
Right
there.
there.
Okay. All right, that's good. Thank you. All right.
All right, Rebecca, did you find what you're looking for?
Yes, I just have a quick email from him that says he estimates it'll be between about 35 to 40 hours total for the review. However, he expects that the public hearing process may run a little bit longer than what he was estimating. So there would just be that little caveat in there, depending on whether or not that happened. And ballpark figure, he said about 6,500. Of course, like I mentioned, we will have a formal contract and voting situation probably next time.
Thank you. All right, a lot of information. We do have electronic version of the NOI and some hard copies also. We do want to schedule a site visit. We do want to talk with our peer consultant also to see his availability for that site visit. Does the commission have any questions at this point?
No.
Does the applicant understand the process for or hiring a consultant and they're paying for it?
Yes.
Okay,
All right, any questions from the commission right now?
I have a question. I'm curious why that second access road that you're putting in there to go to Farm Street.
So
Why-
who's speaking?
This is Haley, sorry.
Oh, hey, sorry, missed you. Go ahead.
Why would that access road to Farm Street not be planned either around those wetland areas and vernal pools? And or why would it not use the existing cleared area by the power lines to not have to clear more woodland area?
So the existing cleared area by the power lines is not the school's property. Which we can, point out like the extent of the school's property, but we don't have legal access to that property. And then to the extent of the impacts to the existing wetlands where we're coming out, we can point out some geographic features, but we've kind of worked hard to include as much infrastructure we have to minimize these impacts. So we have a certain roadway width to make it accessible for the emergency vehicles and to make it usable. And, you know, there's also a balancing of impacts, maybe what's not clear from like this picture, but would be from like the site walk and from the more detailed plans is, you know, say that if your desire is to slide this farther away, which, you know, we start to impact other wetlands. You know, so we are trying to thread the needle and kind of balance the impacts to the wetlands, to the need for the access, to what we have for actual available property. You know,
Are you right at the property line with the road?
No, we are not.
Okay,
The access is not right at the property line, but this shoots up about 30 feet of rock.
well, you're gonna be taking out plenty of rock. I wouldn't worry about that.
Yeah, and then you can kind of see, because it's the roadway, the geometry, you know, if we were to move it, try to slide it over, we start to bump into other wetlands.
Right. I think my question is more just like, why wouldn't you just add an extra curve to kind of bring it just slightly around that area, that bigger wetland area? That I think was number 1 on your
This one right here.
diagram.
Yeah, but we're not seeing the picture.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, so it'd be helpful if you can put that up.
That was very clear to me, but
I
sorry. This one.
Yeah,
So there's a lot, the rock shoots up here.
Yeah.
We have kind of the needs of you know, so we don't you know, again, we're trying to balance all the different needs. You know, for the access, we have kind of you know, stacking lane for the traffic leaving so that people won't, and also so they can pull freely in. So we, you know, we have a minimum roadway widths. But I mean, this is all things that we can talk about as part of the discussion. You know, these roadways don't lend themselves to zigzags. As geometry is somewhat restricted as far as like what we can do. But again, you can kind of see, this is where I was talking about, we're kind of threading the needle, you know, not pushing it, you know, closer to these, trying to stay away from this wetland, spanning the bank. You know, again, we're threading through,
right.
and then just clipping it through here, you know, even with the use of walls. So again, it was, and then, you know, trying to provide a meaningful mitigation for that with the replication areas.
Was easement maybe looked at to go off the property line to the other side of the property?
You mean like the north side by the Saugus River?
No, just
South.
it's south of the property line right here.
Oh, okay, plan south. So that's actually the Breakheart Reservation with a power line easement over it. And Kevin or someone from PMA, correct me if I'm wrong. So it's state property with the utility having an easement over it for the utility line. So I mean, it was considered, but not
You want to go to slide? Is that more
viable.
clear on slide 2, David?
The overview.
Trying to look at that little thumbnail. There we go.
Yeah. Thanks, Joe. So the power line is actually an easement, I believe, through the Breakheart Reservation.
Okay.
So
Do you have the center line of road laid out there right now?
Stake? No.
Yeah.
And actually that would,
I'm sorry, Dave, this is Kevin. I
Yeah.
believe we did stake the center line road. I think I walked it with several members.
Yeah, but I didn't know if it was still there.
yeah, I haven't been there in like 2 weeks, Kevin.
I haven't either.
And I don't know if it was completely laid out. I know part of it was, but I think we're gonna want that so that we can take a look at on a site walk.
Yeah, so when we're ready, I was gonna ask about what folks would like to be able to see on the site walk. You know, so we in preparation for it. So we got
what's the width of the road proposed, the driveway?
2 12-foot travel lanes.
Well, that's definitely something we're gonna want it laid out.
Can I just ask, is it premature to schedule a site visit without Matt's input?
Yeah, we would want Matt to
Well-
join us.
Well, we can schedule something and then just call him up, make sure he can make it, or we can just adjust it for him. But I think we need to get nailed down what we want to look at. If we're gonna make a site visit, we need to know what we're gonna look at. So for me, that's an important place, is to get that road laid out. And I don't know about any of the structure. Let me take a little closer. Can we look at a closer look of that area?
Sure. So
I don't know.
I'd suggest maybe to begin with, and again, just to kind of get the conversation going, sorry, this is the one you want. The center line of the roadway, the areas where we would be impacting the wetlands you might want staked out, and then the
Right.
mitigation areas you would probably want staked out to be visible.
Yep.
Yeah, those items for sure.
You put station flags on the center line so that we know where we are, right? Like
We
50
can-
feet or 100 feet or something, so we
Yeah,
know
we
what-
can, what we'll do is, once we kind of have the menu, we can have the surveyors stake it and provide us with a worksheet that we can give everyone so they can kind of navigate around.
Okay.
Um,
Okay, and yeah, like you said, with the areas that are being impacted, it's really where we need to see it.
Yeah, and we can make sure that the flagging is still up as well.
Yeah. Okay. One quick question on the top, if you look at the top of this map, right, on the purple or right, yeah, right where you are in there, what is that area doing?
It is, I
Is that like a
believe,
channel?
yes, and I think it flows into a structure that flows into the drain system that runs through the subdivision.
I think I want that laid out too.
So
Yeah,
that area, the
that's
flagging
location-
back, well, we're not
Yeah.
proposing any
Green
work here, so
circle?
you want to make sure the
No,
flags are
I
here.
know that, but water's going that way, right?
Okay.
Yeah, we saw that structure on the last site walk. That's when it goes under June Circle, I believe.
Yes.
Oh, is it the one that goes under June Circle?
Yes.
Oh, okay, never mind then. I know what that is.
Is that by the neighbor shed?
Wait a minute,
Yeah, so we have a little
you're
bit,
right,
the
Kevin.
wood fence, the
Yeah.
boulder, and
yeah,
then I think the structure is just off the property.
okay.
Where's the shed? Probably this is the shed, Kev.
And the water is flowing
There's
in that
one way
direction.
out on the, sorry about that, go ahead.
The water is flowing from the wetland into that pipe.
Correct.
That's the direction of flow, right?
Oh, there's a shed, sorry.
There's the shed. Yeah.
Okay.
It's a little bit of a
Just
stray.
orienting myself, thank you.
Okay.
So, David, before we commit, are we allowed to go on to the private property to flag?
Uh,
That's our lot line, is the heavy line or the lighter line?
The heavy line.
The heavy line is ours, okay.
So
So can we-
I think
What's
what I
the
heard is
gray
that
area?
they're okay if not us, I mean, we will be able to see the structure from our property.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, because I know where it is now. I thought
Okay,
it was a different place, but no, I know, I've seen that one. I've seen it flowing. I know what that's like. But can we move on down further
can
and
you
just,
just, David, while that's blown up, what is the gray hatched area?
I think that's like the surveyors catching for like potential encroachment. right? Like it's, kind of improvements that are beyond the property line. So, like lawn,
Thank you.
fence,
Yeah, edge of grass,
Uh,
fence.
just bric-a-brac. Imagine not sure why that's not, maybe they might have thought it was just the schools or something.
Like it's lost.
Try to run away.
Yeah.
So
So let's just, can we keep going further down the road towards the
Sure.
school and see what else is down there to look at?
So I think some clarity maybe in this area might be wanted, where we could have the wing walls and the culvert staked out
Yep,
relative to
yep.
the banking.
Yeah.
Definitely.
If we have the flags all reconstructed, and we'll know where we are when we're here.
Right. Yeah, that'd be good. Do that.
And then
Do you know at these locations what the direction of flow is for that, for instance, that area that you were just at before? It looks like the way it's drawn, it
This
looks like that long skinny one. Yeah, right
Yeah.
there. Is that going, which way is the water going from the? high
kind of
tension
reads like it's
lines?
going this way to the page north.
Okay. And is that the case for all of these along this section?
Around here, yeah, generally. And then when you get down to the developed area, obviously the stuff that's in the Breakheart runs page south. You know which ones I'm talking about, the ones by the,
Yeah, now, you know what else if you go further down the road till you get to almost the Breakheart gate.
Let
Or as close
me-
as you could get.
let me do this one. I'm sorry if I'm making anyone dizzy. So I think this is one of the pillars.
Okay. So to your left is into Breakout, right?
To the left is not Breakheart.
Where's Breakout?
That road is in Breakheart, just to the right of the cursor.
Okay, so where your hand is now, that if you go down page, that's Breakout Road, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So did you realize that there's an underground stream in that area?
It's part of the drainage system from when they built the
No,
school.
but it's just in the ground. It's bubbling up out of the ground. Did you realize that?
There's I think this piece is part of like the,
Not that piece. It's go back, shrink it down a little bit. All right. So to your the page down now, where that other road is, not the
This
road.
one?
that goes- Yeah. If you go down that road a little ways, up to your left, there is a stream, or it's an intermittent stream. It's actually underground stream.
I mean, that's something,
It comes up out of the ground and goes over it goes along the road. You can
Okay.
see the channel that's along the road. I don't know if you had investigated that at all or know what that water is doing.
no, if we can point it out when we on the sidewalk, that would be great.
Okay.
I would think it's that little wiggly water-like line to the left of the road, Jimmy.
That might be, but I know that you have to go, because I take my dog up there all the time, so I know that you have to go up further up page.
All right, we can,
We can look at it, but yeah, I see what you're saying as far as,
and
I
I'll go
think
look, I'll go look for it before.
yeah. Okay. Well, we've had a drought. I don't know if it's running now.
There should, well, it's raining like heck now, but there should at least be visual evidence of it.
Yeah, there definitely, I can show you it. The water is crystal clear.
Okay.
Comes out of the thing. Okay, so getting back to what we want to see, maybe we should just go around to these purple areas and take a peek at all of them.
A lot of them, we wouldn't have things like, to stake out because we're not proposing changes, but we can talk you through what the improvements would be. Like the the ones in the back. I always call it the back, the
Mm.
softball field, the practice field, right?
Yeah,
Like
but
it's,
you're in the, it's buffer zone work is what you're doing, right?
if we reseed it, but might not be doing anything back here, and then here. But we can walk you through, yes, the buffer zone work along all these areas. We'll make sure the flags are up so we can see them, and then
Yeah.
and then there, even like say this area, there's enough to kind of understand where the buffer zone is in relation to the baseball field.
Yeah.
Are there any limited work lines shown on any of these drawings?
Not on these drawings, but they are on the set that you have. There are limited work lines. So the set that you have, 74 e-size sheets, and so it runs through site prep, site demo, erosion sedimentation control, utility plans, drainage and grading plans, details, planting plans, starting around the mid set. We have the landscape improvements. So they have the detailed grading plans, detailed planting plans, material plans, layout plans. So the limit of work, but what we didn't mention tonight is Warner Larson Landscape Architects is the landscape architect for the project. They just couldn't be here tonight. So we coordinated with them. So the limit of work between the two different sets should be on the set should be consistent.
And kind of says, do you show the distance between the edge of the wetlands themselves and the work proposed?
I not specifically calling out dimensions, but everything's to scale. So is it a question to put it on the plans, or to like
Yes,
just
I think we like to see the distance between, again, the what you're doing and the distance from the actual wetland. We understand it's within the buffer zone, but just.
Yep. So we can do that. What I would ask is we can take a pass at doing that. That's not a problem at all. There might be if we miss a dimension or something like that, just let us know. But we can add up.
It's just the distance,
Yep.
and again, it's
Yeah, it's just I'm not trying to be difficult. It's just that the distance, like this area here,
it
right?
varies. Yeah.
It varies.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
we'll put it on so visually you can see what we're looking at. Obviously here, it's 0, but
Right. No, we understood.
we can do that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll do that as a almost separate worksheet if you don't mind. Which really would just be like a cleaner version of a plan like this, and we can add the dimension so it's not polluted with everything. If I try to add it to the utility plan, you'll have a tough time picking it out, things like that, and it's spread over 6 sheets.
What about our cross-section sheet, Dave? Would that be a good place to show it?
Well, I think they want more than the one, right? So like our cross-section sheet really is,
Okay.
So, and again, if I'm misspeaking or misinterpreting, obviously just correct me, but this section really is meant to kind of indicate where we are and how it sits on the land.
Okay.
If we were to do something similar to this and, show the distance between limit of work and the wetlands themselves, kind of at some key points through the thing, that might be a little bit more illustrative for what they're trying to kind of like wrap their minds around.
Yeah, I think that's right, Dave.
Yeah.
Because in some of these, like honestly, like
Yeah.
the thickness of this line
All right.
is 3. If we were to measure it on this drawing, is 3 feet. So it's I think I know what you're looking for. We can put together a worksheet that kind of illustrates that, and if you want more, we can do more.
By worksheet, you mean a plan?
Yep, plan.
Okay.
Thank you.
Plan, scalable plan. It would just be like, again, just not to beat a dead horse. I wouldn't want to add it to the utility plan, which
that's
has
fine.
a million pieces of information on it.
Thank you.
All right, what else would we like to
Why
see
not?
staked?
I'm sorry, I interrupted someone.
Oh, Jimmy, I was saying, what else would we like to see staked?
Well, you know what I'm wondering about is, I'm wondering about elevations. Do you have, if you're gonna put the center line in, can you put the finished grade elevation on the stake?
Existing grade and finished grade?
No, we know what the existing is, just a
So
finish.
David, if I could please, David Conley?
Yep.
You just heard from our contractor who walked the site last week, and he said that the stakes are on the center line of the road. You just walked it. They're clearly visible.
Okay,
And
but
we have provided plans that translate the center line of road to the actual numbers on the stakes and the boring numbers too, I believe.
Okay, we can,
improve on.
I guess what I'm saying is it's much easier to put a ribbon around the fight on the post at the appropriate height so that we can get a general view of what the road's gonna look like.
yeah, I mean, the change in elevations in some of these is beyond the height of the stake itself.
Well, then that'll be obvious. Well,
So we could either write it on the stake, you know, plus
right, plus 5 feet or.
5 feet or
Yeah.
whatever it is.
Right, right.
All right, what else we'd like to see staked out?
I think that's, can't think of anything right now.
Do we have details of the drainage structures? Do we know how deep they're going at each location?
Yes, so in the
Okay.
submitted set, the civil details have a complete structure schedule. Inverts, pipe sizes, the water quality inlets.
So the big structure on the road, page left, if we could easily figure out how deep we're going for that structure.
For these systems.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Yep, we have the elevations are on them, so like the top, the bottom, the stone.
great.
Okay.
Okay,
And I think each one has its own section on the detail sheet.
thank you.
So for the detailed information on something like this, you'd want to look on the civil set in that 74-page set, the drainage plans.
Yep, just found him. Thank you. It's a nice table.
all right. Any other questions from the commission at this time?
Bob, do we have a set schedule of kind of what the meetings are going to be like? Like which meetings are covering which sections? Is there like a plan for that?
Not yet, but that is something we have discussed.
Hmm.
You know, having set meetings for different aspects of the project. That's something we will need to discuss and figure out how we want to handle that.
Okay.
You know, there's a lot to absorb here and review.
Yeah, so how long will it take you to get this ready for us to look at? Hello?
Yes, I think we could be ready for, I don't know when you typically have your site walks, if they're weekends or weekdays, but I think we could be ready. Not this Columbus Day weekend, but definitely by next weekend.
By next weekend?
Yeah.
Okay,
But it honestly, a lot of this I think is already there, so
yeah.
it could even be before that.
Well, let's talk about that then, because what would be, I mean, are we all talking about, we're not talking about nighttime now, right? Like a Saturday or Sunday, you're gonna want to do it?
Yeah, it would need to be,
It's gonna be too dark, isn't it? If we go-
right.
So is there a chance we can get there this Saturday or Sunday if they were ready?
They said
It's a
this
long
weekend
weekend.
wouldn't be likely.
Oh.
It's a
this
holiday
is-
weekend.
What's the holiday weekend?
Indigenous people.
Formerly known as
Day.
Columbus.
Yeah,
Mr. Chairman, I believe the stakes are from the center line. If you'd like to at least get started, the center line of the road is there.
Yeah, I mean, that's fine. I'd rather just get everything all at one shot.
right.
Trying to
get
help.
out there. I appreciate that. I just think it's easier for us to do it all together and
Sure.
at one time. But so the holiday's out, so it's gonna have to be the following week then. Because I don't think we can do it on a weekend, or at night it's gonna be too dark, one of those two.
So it would be the 15th or the 16th.
Okay. So what's the opinion? What do you want to
My
do?
vote's not so important, but I would love to be included if possible. And I cannot do 15, so my vote's on 16, but again, whatever works for you guys.
Okay, well, we'd like to have you there, so. How about the 16th? Can we do that?
That works for me.
At 9 o'clock, is that too early?
God, I'll be having lunch by then.
Me too, Jim.
Yeah, that should
9
work.
o'clock is fine with me. How about anyone else?
That would work.
Fine with me.
Good with me.
It's good.
Okay, so
Thank
we'll-
you.
we're gonna figure on having a site walk on the 16th at 9 o'clock. And we should probably meet up here at the roadway.
We'll let Matt Byrne know about that.
Yeah, and isn't that date contingent on his availability?
Well, I mean, it gets 2 weeks to him. Yes, it is, but I mean, I'm hoping that we can send him out on his own if we can't, but I don't want to,
Okay,
it's the only weekend we have.
All right, any other questions for the commission right now?
Bob,
Yes.
this is Bob Brooks.
Hi, Bob. Let me just make sure the commission's all set before I open up to the public.
Sure, thanks, sorry.
Rebecca, do you have anything?
Not right now. I mean, I think we had discussed maybe breaking this down into smaller components and trying to tackle each one at a meeting. If we don't decide the whole schedule now, maybe let's just have how we're gonna handle the next one. I know it's after the site visit, but just to get an idea of, so everyone can do their due diligence and their reading and et cetera. If maybe we could decide what we think we'll be tackling next time, whether it's performance standards or stormwater management or whatever the case may be.
Yeah, good idea. Do you have any suggestions what you would like to see first?
I think based on the fact that you guys will be doing the site visit, looking at the resource areas and then the associated work right adjacent to it, it makes sense to me that performance standards would be next before we dive into stormwater management.
That makes sense.
If anyone has any other suggestions, it's just a thought, but you know, if there's anything else, that's fine, but might as well just start there.
Okay. All right, any other questions or comments from the commission? All right, we do have other business to attend to very shortly, but we could probably take a couple of questions from the public. Please remember what our jurisdiction, covers. Wetland resource areas, riverfront areas, buffer zones. Those situations are what pertain to us. So, Bob Brooks, you had a question?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I just wanted, just a question on the sidewalk. Would that be open to abutters and residents to be on that sidewalk?
of course.
Did somebody just answer that question?
I'm sorry, I did, Bob. I'm sorry. You go ahead, right ahead. Sorry.
No, did the applicant like to answer that question?
Yeah, sure, absolutely.
Okay.
I
Thanks,
mean,
Chairman.
yeah, just send us the notice when you confirm it, and yeah, we'll meet you out there.
Great, thank you.
I'm not sure whose hand went up first, but in order of what I see, Linda Ireland.
Yes, hello. I would like to know whether or not you could consider looking at the Mill River option as the access road in your site visit, because I've walked back there and there is virtually no wetland. The Saugus River is extremely narrow at that point. There's maybe a total of 30 feet that would have to be bridged. That includes the river and the wetlands on both sides. The road access road would be about 500 feet long in total, compared to the half-mile road through wetlands. There's no comparison of the impact to the wetlands and to the endangered species habitat, to the certified vernal pool, which is not being mentioned, to the documented vernal pool, which is Series 2, and to the whippoorwill habitat, which is in Series 1. I also wanted to mention that some of the points were incorrect. The direction of the flow on the Wetland Series B is south, not north. It runs towards that large Series 1 wetland. Wetland Series 2 is a documented vernal pool that will be destroyed by road salts. Wetland Series 5 is a certified vernal pool that will also be destroyed by road salts. And the amphibians that are breeding in that pool will be killed when the hilltop is blasted. If this entire project is based on the fact that you need a road from Farm Street to Hemlock Road as an exit, it should really have been looked at far more closely and in detail as to why Water Street was not given at least a site visit.
Linda, do you have everything you just mentioned written down?
I do.
Could you forward that to us,
Yes, I will.
please? Thank you. Next, Jennifer.
Yeah, hi, my name is Jennifer Fanning, and I looked over the stormwater report for the NOI, and I noticed that there was no specific discussion about what chemicals were going to be used to de-ice the roads. But I wanted to ask for further details about that, what the anticipated impacts of that, in terms of including the extent of the impacts, because I'm sure that water will flow, where it will flow. So what will those compounds impact? What will the concentrations be? And will those adhere to environmental standards as the project, moves forward and as the school operates?
It's a little ahead of us, but is there an operations and maintenance plan and a plan for road maintenance?
So there is an O&M plan in the set, and there's like a snow storage plan as well.
And is there any no salt restrictions on the driveway or anything of that nature?
Not currently in the O&M, but that's it's something we can discuss through the process.
Okay. I don't see any other hands raised at this point.
I actually do have a question. I just have a question about wildlife risk and school risk now with the fires that we encountered over the summer at
Okay.
Breakart.
Can you identify yourself, please?
Oh, sorry. My name is Sasha Simone.
Okay, thank you.
Has that been taken into consideration now? Since we have some, I'm obviously concerned about safety, but also the wildlife risks now that we have these fires that we are dealing with, in particular this summer with the Breakart fires. Is that something that needs to be looked at? I mean, I worry about the safety of the kids in the school surrounded by forests.
So when you say wildlife risks, I'm not sure what you mean. You mean
All the
risk to the
wildlife.
wildlife because of the fires?
Oh, yes, the risk to the wildlife and also the risk to the kids now that we have these forest fires. And we had a lot of them this summer. And I don't know if that was something that people had concerns about before.
But it's the area that was, I haven't been up there since it's been burned, so I don't even know what it looks like, but
It's pretty bad.
yeah, that's what
Yeah.
someone told me too. Yeah.
And I'm just worried, where is all the wildlife gonna go if with these fires? And not only that, if there's fires and these kids are up on this hill,
Yeah.
I mean, do people have concerns about? I have concerns.
Well-
So I just thought I would bring it up.
Okay.
I don't know if there's
We
burnt
might have to
dead
ask
trees
Andrew.
on the property or not. Well, I guess we'll see that on the sidewalk. Is that what you're referring to? Trees that may come down or fall down because they've been damaged?
Just in general now with fire concern, if Breakheart is burning, you know, what happens to the school if Breakheart is on fire next year? What are the consequences? And also, what about all the wildlife that is affected by the fires? Where are they gonna go?
Yeah.
So I feel like it's a kind of a big conundrum that, you know, kind of I don't know if it was ever considered, obviously, with because I don't think people thought about fires, but Breakheart was pretty scary this summer. And it makes me concerned about the school being on that hilltop now.
You know, I
Mr.
think it's
Chairman, this is Kevin, if I could answer.
it's
Sure.
MDC, it's MDC Breakheart's owned by MDC, right? So we don't have jurisdiction
DCF.
outside of a lot of these areas that you're talking about. There's not much that we can do about that. I mean, the best thing to do is contact the property owner, and which I think is the MDC. Is that right, Kevin? Do you know?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, if I could answer.
Yes.
Yeah.
So from the start of the project, when it was a blank piece of paper, we have already been coordinating with DCR headquarters, DCR engineering, as well as the Breakheart Reservation people. We're coordinating and making sure that access to fire roads, existing fire roads, remains. We're also working with all the authorities having jurisdiction. We had a great meeting with all the town department heads. And I believe that the fire chief is on record as saying that the road is definitely a positive, is that will help in emergency incidents and things like this for them to be able to fight the fire. And I just remind the person that's speaking that the current school is nestled in the forest and surrounded by breakout woods as well.
Well, it's
So
a lot.
We're
It's a
taking that
lot.
into account. And Mr. Chairman, is it customary that a person identifies their first, last name and address for the record?
Wait, we're not going to get that.
Yeah, we did get a first and last name.
Where, an address?
Yeah, I should have actually asked for an address.
Thank you.
Do I have to give my address? I live in Melrose, so I'm a taxpayer. And not to mention, you know, I'm sure you had those conversations. Is there any evidence of those conversations? I haven't seen any of them.
Well, there's
About these
people on this
fire-
call,
That's
with
not
it.
that's not a
Okay.
question that
Okay.
is appropriate at this time.
Okay. It's just
Um,
difficult. It's difficult to navigate all this. I'm sure you probably did have those conversations, but I haven't seen any of them. So
Well,
I was
Mr.
just
Chairman,
curious.
calling
Right.
into question the veracity of my comments, I would ask that some of these people on this call that took part in that meeting could maybe verify that some of the comments in general were correct.
Yeah, we
Was
only
at the meetings. I
We're gonna-
wasn't-
As
Yep.
were several
Yeah.
members of the commission too.
Yeah, so I see one more hand raised. So we'll take one more question before moving on to other business. Bronwyn Delavolpe, please.
Hi, Bronwyn Delavolpe. I live at 8 Cyrus Street. Yeah, within the context of the environmental issues and concerns, why was this particular site selected?
No, we're not getting into that right now. That's not something that we're even gonna, we're acting on the plans that we have before us.
Okay,
Mr. Chairman, I direct everyone to the NEMT website that has the preliminary design program, the preferred schematic report, the schematic design, and the DD estimate, all submitted to the MSBA over the past 2.5 years. That gives explicit details of that question, answers to that question. It's up on the website. We checked it with the help of a neighbor. It was down and we've got it reactivated. We actually put the design development set up there as well.
Well, who's the neighbor?
Oh, one of the
Yeah,
neighbors just tipped us off. It wasn't working. That was good. And we fixed it.
Okay.
So as a taxpayer, just another question, if we can't find information, who should we go to ask? If
We
we're
have a
not allowed
portal,
to ask in these, hold on, if we're not allowed to ask in these meetings and we want to be informed, how do we find out? How do
I
we
just
find out that
directed,
information?
Joe, could you say out loud what the address, I don't know the address off the top of my head, to our website, and there's a portal for questions.
Why don't I put it right in the chat, just that way?
There you go. Sure.
Will
That
you
would
be
be
able to access
excellent.
it that way? I see you're on your phone.
Yeah, that's fine. Thank
Okay.
you.
Yeah, no problem. Give me
Don't
one
believe
second.
there is a chat on here.
Oh, okay. All right. I would have got there eventually. Good point. Let me just make sure I have it right.
I'll read it off. But we can make sure and follow up and make sure Rebecca has information too. But it's Northeast Building Project, all one word, .com. So Northeast Building Project.com. And it will look like, oh, you know what I could have done? Sorry.
Documents.
So the address is right here.
Thank you.
And there's a section that says FAQs and contact us. And there's an email address there.
I would also say, in addition, feel free to give me a call in the office. I don't work every day of the week, but I will get back to you. If you don't catch me, I'll try to get back to you within the next couple of days. Sometimes it takes a few days between a Thursday and a Tuesday, but feel free to either email me or call me if you guys have any questions, and I may be able to answer them, or I may be able to point you in a direction of where you could find the answer.
I did before say we'd take one more question. I do see two more hands raised. I guess we'll take these two and that'll be it. Christine, please identify yourself and ask your question.
Yes, thank you for taking me. Christine Ryu. I live at 22 Woodland Road in Wakefield. And I think this question is relevant to the discussion tonight. I wondered if the project folks have an estimate of the number of trees that they'll have to take down for the project, and what measures will they take to actually preserve as many trees as possible during the construction project.
Mm-hmm. Good question.
I'm sure we can work with our engineers to come up with a number or a percent or some way to communicate that. That's a good question. We'll follow up on it.
Yeah, and that is something that we typically ask during our process.
Sure.
Identify the trees that will be coming down and what the plan is for replacement.
Sure.
But, yeah, good question.
Yeah.
Sorry, can I just confirm it'll be 13 acres in total that will be the site? Is that correct?
Developed?
Yeah.
I don't know if Dave has it off the top of his head. If we want to,
I don't have, and I think it's more than that.
Sure, we can
It's more
research.
than that. Okay.
Provide the answer.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Jennifer, you had another question?
Yes, it was about
And where's your address, please?
4 Pheasantwood Drive, Wakefield.
Thank you.
Yeah, I had a question about having questions answered, including I've been to the FAQ page, the contact us page, which seems to be an email address for PMA. So I wonder if questions and answers submitted to those are public records, as opposed to communications with a records access officer. And I also didn't receive a notification from Concom about the meeting tonight, even though I'm signed up for alerts, and I received emails about previous ones.
So the last part was, say that again.
I didn't, well, that I didn't receive an alert for today's meeting.
Are you in a butter?
No, but I'm signed up for alerts and I have been receiving alerts, but not for today's meeting. But my question before that was whether questions and answers submitted through the contact us page, which I think are managed by PMA, if those are public records.
I believe we answered the questions in the frequently asked questions section. We update it as we get more questions.
But are they
Ones that
public
come
records
direct-
or?
Others that come from second, third party to us are answered to the person that asked the question, usually an authority having jurisdiction or a project principal. They don't go up on the website.
To be completely blunt too, we haven't really received many questions. We received a question, the most recent question I can recall was from a parent who was confused and asking if they could drop off a car that they got at an auction for the auto body shop. And we kind of had to reply and say, you got the wrong portal. So there's not much of a record there. We tried to update the FAQ section of the website, I think just this week. Correct me if I'm wrong, Kevin and team, but to address a lot of the questions that we've been receiving lately and some of the chatter.
Well, I didn't submit a question because
We put some of the graphics up there that were shared tonight as well.
Yeah, I didn't submit a question because I wanted to participate in sort of the transparent public process, not a process that may not be.
Mr. Chairman, the website is public. Can we answer the questions?
Who are you that's speaking? I'm sorry. What is your name?
My name is Kevin. Kevin Nigro. I identify myself as being Kevin Nigro, PMA Consultants.
Are you, what town are you from?
Hey, Sasha, excuse me.
I'm from Saugus, Massachusetts.
Sasha,
Okay.
you cannot
Yes?
keep interrupting and asking questions. You can only ask questions by raising your hand, please.
Oh, sorry. I've never been to one of these before. He didn't identify himself, so
it's not a free for all.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But I did, Sasha. I introduced myself and the team.
Okay, sorry. I didn't hear it. I just wanted to ask. Sorry.
I'm going to get off topic really slightly, but Jennifer, I just want to ask a quick question. You said you previously received alerts. Did you sign up on the town website to get agendas and you previously received agendas, but you didn't get this one? And I'm sorry to go off topic real quick, but I just wanted to grab and make sure there's not a problem with the website.
I got the one from 9/20, and I didn't get one today, and I looked very closely because I was very surprised.
Okay, I'll look into it. I'm not sure. It was posted on September 29th by the town clerk, so I'm not sure what had happened, but I can look into it. So thank you for letting me know. And if I find out anything, I can try to let you know. I'm not sure why there would be a difference.
Okay, we will take one absolutely final question before we move on. I see Paul Rivicki has his hand raised. Please identify yourself and address, please.
Good evening. This is Paul Ribicki, 152 Parker Road in Wakefield, the other side of town. I just wanted to note at the traffic advisory meeting on August 24th, I brought up the question is, does it make sense to build a $300 million school with a half-mile driveway without sidewalks with 1,600 kids? And the answers that were given were woefully inadequate. So I do believe that there is a potential that a sidewalk really does make sense and should alter the equation environmentally. I may be outside of the scope of the Conservation Committee, but the safety of the kids is really, really important. And the length of this driveway, which we are calling a roadway interchangeably, is clearly 0.51 miles. So I just want everybody to know on the record that it really is a high risk, dangerous situation to have a half-mile driveway that we're going to just have no sidewalks and culverts and walls on the side.
I would like to follow up on that for a quick moment. I'd like to have that conversation down the road. I know that I was at one of the meetings that sidewalks were discussed. I plan on having that conversation because I do think also that that would change some numbers around. So I do want to follow up on that at some point. Like I mentioned at that meeting, we were all there. Steve Mayo said he wanted sidewalks. And I don't know whatever happened to that or if that's planning on coming in the future. But I also do think that that's a conversation we'd have at the point in time when we start reviewing that roadway.
Thank you.
All right, we are going to be moving on. We will schedule this for the next meeting on October 18th. Don't have a time yet. It will be on the website. And as of now, we have a tentative date for a site walk. It's a week from Sunday at 9 a.m. to meet in the parking lot, like near the gates, I think we had established.
On Farm Street, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait a minute, on Farm Street or on?
No, on Farm Street. Well, I guess we could go wherever you want, but most of the stuff is up on by Farm Street.
Yeah, parking might be a little tough down there.
Okay, so go down by the gates, the entrance to Breakout. How about there?
Yeah. Yeah, that would make the most sense. Could park in a parking lot before the gates. We can meet near the gates. All right. Well, thank you, everybody, for your participation tonight. And we'll see you a week from Sunday. And we'll be moving on.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank
Thank you,
you, Bob.
Rebecca, for your help this week.
Thank you.
Thank you all. Take care.
Good night. All right, Rebecca.
Yes, so I did reschedule to Angem Lane. I did not receive any new information in time to be reviewed for this meeting, so it is not going to be on the agenda for discussion tonight. So we can move on to Millbrook
Right.
Estates, and I'm hoping the attorney Ryan is here somewhere.
Yes.
I'm here.
Sorry, there's so many, I couldn't see you.
Okay, no problem.
All right, do you have an update for us from Millbrook Estates? It's DEP 313322, stormwater management update.
I have a bit of an update. Peter Hayes, Peter Ogren from Hayes Engineering he and his crew have completed a site visit to begin working on as-built plans for the stormwater system. He would like to meet with the board and the property manager on the property. The property manager just had knee surgery on Friday, so a meeting on the property is currently in the works, but hasn't been scheduled yet. I am waiting for the manager to be able to walk around again, and then we can discuss meeting on the property. And certainly when I have that meeting scheduled, I will let Rebecca know.
Okay. Anything else?
I have no other update. The vegetation cutback is still at the same point it was at the last time. I believe that everyone is currently satisfied with that. I think everyone on our side, my clients recognize that maybe they may need to do more vegetation cutback at some point, but for now they're on hold.
I have a quick question. Is Peter Ogren waiting to submit the as-built plan until after the site visit? And is it a possibility that we can get that as-built plan if he's finished collecting all of his information? Is it possible we can get that as-built plan regardless of when the site visit and the knee patient is feeling better?
My understanding from having a fairly long conversation with Peter is that he cannot provide the as-built until we meet on site.
Okay, let me ask this question then. Is it possible we could have a initial meeting on site before waiting for the knee patient with Peter and the commission and yourself or whoever would like to attend, and then have a second, if necessary, meeting with the manager? I'm just concerned it seems to just be lingering for a very, very long time. And I'm confused why we can't have the site plan without a site visit. That's new for me.
So I am only giving you the information that Peter has given. I have nothing more than that
Okay.
to provide. As far as willingness to meet on site, my understanding is that Peter wanted to meet on site prior to reviewing anything further with anyone but us. I don't know exactly why that is. What I would like to do, if it would be okay, is have another conversation with Peter. I could possibly, arrange for a meeting between Peter and myself and the board, and then we can schedule one with the Concom as well. I need information from Peter. I'm relying on him. He is my expert as to how this process is going forward. And that is what he asked me for. He wants some history of the property, which is why the property manager himself and the property manager's experience with the property are relevant.
All right, one last question. Are you opposed if I call Hayes Engineering and speak to Peter Ogren?
Right.
I just feel like he could explain this to me probably very easily over the phone. I'm struggling to understand a little bit. And I know that you're only getting your information from him. So it seems that the best thing for me to do would be to go to the source. I know his number by heart. I would often call him, but I just figured I would check with you first. If you have no problem with that, I'd like to give him a call just to sort my own self out and see where we stand.
I mean, I don't have a problem with you calling him. I would prefer if he'd let me give him a call first so I can talk to him about what we've just spoken about.
That's fine. I don't go back in the office until Thursday. How's that?
I can even let you know once I've spoken to him. And I know you're not in the office until Thursday, and
Right.
I will definitely attempt to speak to him before then.
Okay,
And
perfect.
as soon as I do, I will let you know.
Okay.
And we can go from there.
Okay, that sounds good to me, unless the commission.
Certainly, I can tell you this. I know there's been a delay, but the fact that the knee surgery has occurred is not any attempt to delay. It's just what happened. He had knee surgery on Friday.
I understand that.
We do have actually the butters grandson here. Mark, did you have any questions or comments?
I'm actually here with my grandparents tonight. You guys have any questions?
Yeah, I spoke with Hayes Engineering when they were here.
Speak up.
It was no, you just it was one here. That's it.
When Hayes Engineering was here, there was not a team of people. It was one person was here.
From Hayes?
From Hayes, one man.
When you say one man, was it a man from working for Hayes or?
He worked for Hayes Engineering. This is Mario Cresta. How are you, Jimmy?
Good, how are you?
Oh, pretty good, thanks. Yeah, there was only one gentleman here from Hayes Engineering.
Okay.
And he met with you?
I just leaned over the fence and I talked to him the whole time he was here.
Hmm.
He opened up the manhole where they were proposed to put the pump at one time.
Okay.
It was supposed to go from the pond out front to the one out back.
So did he just flip the cover on the pond, on the manhole, and that was it?
He was
Did he
writing.
take any measurements?
He was writing notes and whatnot. I didn't see too many measurements.
I watched him up on the pond.
Did he have a long pole with a?
No, I didn't see him with any pole except for the manhole.
Okay.
Pretty hard to run a pole by yourself, Jimmy.
What's that?
It's pretty hard to hold on to a pole when you're alone.
No, because it might be the one for doing the GPS data. You know, they just hold it in place. It's a one-person job. So that's why I'm wondering if it makes sense that he might, if he had any equipment with him, he might have had that and was doing, taking readings on stuff around it. I don't know. That's why I was asking.
No, I didn't see it. I didn't see it.
Okay.
All right, anything else, Mark or Mr. Cresta?
Yeah, basically, they cut everything down in I'm very curious what the perks were on that, because we had water all the way up to our house when it floods over, and there's a lot of clay below the soil. So I'm wondering what the perk results were on that pond.
Or you can walk in the pond because it's dry right now because it might be kind of drought.
Basically, Jimmy, they take care of their side. They
Yeah.
mow the grass.
Yeah.
Then up by the building, it's like a horseshoe shape. They maintain everything except my property line.
Yeah,
So-
so,
Why can't they maintain it on the other side of the fence on my property line?
okay, yeah,
Whatever they cut's all gonna grow back again.
I know, that's what I'm thinking too. So did they clear right up to the fence on your property?
Yes,
So it's now down to great grass height?
yes,
Amazing.
but on my side of the property,
Mhm.
all that vegetation is still there. That,
Oh, on your side of the fence?
yes,
Oh. Well, they probably would need your permission to take that out of there.
I already gave them permission. They can come on my property anytime.
Okay.
Anybody that's on the board.
Okay, well, we'll have to find out about that. That's something they should have done.
Just to be clear, I'm not sure anyone, I did not understand that my clients had permission to go onto your property to cut back vegetation, and that was not part of the request for the vegetation to be cut back. It was only for it to be cut back up to that fence. That's exactly what was done.
Yeah.
And as far as future plans to maintain it, we're all working towards getting a stormwater management plan instituted as part of this process, which will clarify for everyone, my clients and for you, exactly when the vegetation has to be cut back and how. That way, we never need to have these conversations again in terms of, hey, what's everyone supposed to be doing?
Can I say something? In the summertime, the vegetation grows so profusely that my husband and my grandson take truckload after truckload out of here, trying to keep our side of the fence maintained.
Yeah.
And my husband's 81 years old now, can't continue to do this. And it's a lot of work. And no matter how much you cut back, it comes right back over the fence again and then up.
Yeah.
That wetland, whatever they call that wetland grass, is now growing in our gardens because it's fed underneath and it's growing in our gardens.
Yeah.
There's no buffer around that pond so that they can maintain it like they do their side.
Right.
It's right up against our property line. There's a fence, and now you can walk into that pond, and it's not very deep, I'll tell you.
Yeah.
It's not deep at all. I don't know how deep it was originally, but it's not deep now. And originally it was overflowing. 22 years ago, it overflowed right up to our house. So it's never been maintained, ever.
Is it one side that floods over, or is it both sides? Is it one on each side of the drive, right? There's one basement.
Yeah, and that one
So do
floods
they-
and they pump. The guy next door pumps all spring and half of the winter. He pumps.
Well, I think it's high groundwater table in there too, which isn't helpful.
I don't know if there is or not, but it used to be, it was a buildable lot at one time.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. So, but does do both sides, do both sides of the driveway flood? The chambers on both sides?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, both sides. And they flood so bad, the guy next door has to pump constantly.
Okay.
Constantly. I mean, this summer we didn't. It's the first summer we've had that pond hasn't had water.
Yeah.
It usually holds the water all summer, but this summer it didn't.
Yeah.
So.
Well, okay. I
But
mean,
it-
when I think about this, I think that the stuff that's growing on your side is most likely, you know, because those are basins and they're full of water and nutrients for the whatever vegetation wants to grow there. So that's, it may look like it's coming from Peter's side. I don't.
No, it is
It may-
coming.
it
from
may be
Peterside. It's the same wetland material that's growing in Peterside.
Yeah,
the north side.
right. It's probably creeping over to,
It is.
yeah. So we might have to clarify that. So, you know, so that someone can keep it clean.
But I don't know about the depth of this pond.
The
Well,
depth,
that's one of the things we'll find out when they give us the as-built plan.
yeah.
Yeah, I have one more thing to say.
Sure.
When they came here to remove the vegetation,
Mm-hmm.
I went out there and I gave them all permission to go onto my property
Yeah,
and to remove the vegetation that was on my property.
yeah. Hey,
And
could you do me a favor and just, could you send us a picture of that, of your fence and the vegetation so that I could see what we're talking about? I was by there when I saw them taking the vegetation out. I saw it was Earthworks that did it.
Yeah, and there's not a lot of vegetation left now on our side because
Yeah.
we're pulling.
But I want to see if you can tell which way, if the vegetation's coming from the basin over to your side.
Yeah, it is. But
So,
they
so if
were,
that's,
they were pulling from, on the other side, they were pulling everything they could.
yeah,
So there's not a lot left, but what's left is the stuff that's coming up from under the ground.
mm-hmm,
Plumy stuff. I don't know what they call it. It's a wetland plant.
yeah.
I can
Cat
send
nine
an email with some pictures I took the other day after they finished.
tail. Okay. Do they show a picture of the ground, and where the stuff is coming up out of the ground in relation to the fence?
Yes, I took a picture from the street side and from up in the back area.
Okay,
And I can take some pictures tomorrow and send them.
okay. Send them to Rebecca and
Yep.
she'll pass them along to everyone.
And we should have some more information in the next few days.
Okay.
thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you for your patience.
Thank you.
All right. So, Rebecca, if you hopefully you hear from Ryan in the next couple of days and you have a discussion with Hayes and see where we're at. All right, anything else on Millbrook?
I think we're good for tonight.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you for your time.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. Take care.
Thank you.
You too.
All right, let's see. Salem Street, let's see, DP 313-585-610 Salem Street. Review of monitoring report.
So it's similar to last time, and I received these monitoring reports and they have pictures and they include everything because that was required in the order. And I forwarded it along, but my question is at this point, do you guys want to keep seeing these each time they come in? Or would you prefer that I just flagged something that looks unusual and then I bring it to your attention that way? So I guess my question is, do you want to see each and every one of these? And I could forward them and we could not necessarily speak to them at each and every public hearing because we'll be getting them, I think, monthly. So just wondering what your preference is.
What is the purpose of it?
It was required, an environmental monitor was required.
Oh, an environmental monitor. And his
That
job was
may not be what it's called, but Libby's out there making sure the erosion controls are in place. She's provided pictures,
Okay, so it's erosion, that's just to make sure that they've got the erosion controlling correctly?
right now, and I believe they do have a construction monitor out there who is submitting these reports. I don't know what they call, I don't know if they call environmental monitor or construction
Yeah.
monitor, either way. So we've received the 2 reports as required, and I forwarded them to you guys and I put them on the agendas, but I'm wondering whether or not this is the process you want to keep, or do you feel that you want me to just, in the event we receive something, I can forward them all to you, but I will only schedule it for a meeting if there's something.
Do they have the foundation in?
I don't think so. Bob, do you have the pictures there? think it's
I
to
do
you.
have the email you just sent.
Yep.
So this
I
is
mean,
this is the old Taylor rental property.
I would say until the foundation's in, I would keep doing it the way you're doing it. And once the foundation's in and stabilized, then I don't see the need to.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, so that's good to have.
Okay. So I will keep sending them to you, and I will keep putting it on the next agenda as I receive them
Yeah,
until,
it's only once a month, right?
I think so.
Yeah, I think it's worth getting it.
Okay.
Yeah, some of these pictures look like the same ones we saw before, or nothing's changed, I guess, in these locations.
Yeah, I'm assuming Libby takes new pictures each time.
Yeah, 922. So these are new. This picture, for instance, nothing's changed except higher vegetation, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah, I think for right now, you should keep it going the way you are.
Okay. Well, there you have it.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Let's see. Next up is, what do we have left? Open Space and Rec Committee final appointments. Is that it?
That's it. So I don't think you guys formally appointed Erin, because at the time that we were doing all those appointments, I think it hadn't been determined that she would participate, but she sent me an email and she wants to participate. So we need Erin. We also received a name from the Parks Department, and we received a member of the public, just one application to fill the public spot. And lastly, we've inquired for a representative from the planning board a few times, and they don't have anyone who is going to be participating. So that seat is vacant. So if you guys have any questions, or otherwise I can give you the names. And
I have to say that the resume and that you forwarded to us, Rebecca, from the member of the public, he seemed incredibly qualified. So I would, we're lucky to have him.
Mm-hmm.
I second that notion.
Who was it? I don't know if I've ever seen it.
John Sophia.
Rebecca just resent it, Jim.
Yeah, it's in email now.
Yeah, just now. If you could look at your email.
I could share.
Yeah, that'd be great, Bob.
Was it from the Parks Department?
This is a member of the public.
No, I'm saying you said there's also a Parks Department representative.
Sorry. Yes. Yes.
And this is for the open space
committee.
Committee.
Mm-hmm.
And you said this was the only applicant for the public.
Can you, but can you include his cover email, his other? Okay, Bob, can you open up this other stuff that he sent?
Yeah.
Because even though this is brief career education, it doesn't do justice all that he does.
So yes, the answer is this is the only one we received. It was advertised in the paper, I believe, and it was advertised on the website. And this is all we got.
Bob, keep on going. There's other attachments. Keep.
Is this one you're referring
Yeah, he
to?
worked on this, and then there's a general kind of description of all that he's done, but maybe, right,
have
so he worked
seen
on
this.
this.
Yeah, we have seen this.
Right.
I think that's all I have.
Okay,
Yeah. Yes,
Oh,
those 4
go-
attachments.
Go back to the cover sheet. Let me just-
so you see what he's done for the
No.
friends, right?
No, it sounds pretty good to me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So do you want to tell us the name of the person on the Parks
Yes.
Department?
Yep. So there's a member of the Recreation Commission. His name is Charlie Ciccone, as I'm assuming how you pronounce that. And he is interested as well as being a representative from the Recreation Commission on the committee. And then I said, lastly, we have Erin Kokinda from the town's economic development.
And I'm sorry, did you say the name of the Parks Department person? I'm sorry.
Yep, Charlie Ciccone.
Oh, okay, you just said that, sorry.
All right, so there are 3 more
Yes,
potential appointments.
yes.
Okay.
And
So
that
would
would
somebody
probably
like to-
round out the group.
Would somebody like to make a motion to appoint the 3 applicants?
I'll make that motion.
I'd like
I'll
to second.
second.
All right, all in favor? Savannah,
Yes.
Teresa,
Yes.
Peter,
Yes.
Ken,
Yes.
Jimmy,
Yes.
and I also vote yes. Okay, what else do we have?
Other than thanking Judy for all of her hard work, I'm not sure. I think she might be presenting some information at a table sometime soon. Maybe she'd like to tell us about it.
Judy?
There is a table for conservation at Town Day, which is Saturday. So I will be there talking about open space and, you know, this and that, doing a craft with the kids. We're making fireflies.
Thank you, Judy.
You're welcome.
Thank you,
Thank
Judy.
you, Judy.
Thank you, Judy, is right.
Thank you, Judy.
And
Right.
I don't have anything else.
All right, Judy, do you have anything?
No, all set.
Anybody else? If not, would somebody like to make a motion to adjourn?
I'll make.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? If not, all in favor? Jimmy,
Yes.
Ken,
Yes.
Peter?
Yeah.
Silvana,
Yes.
Teresa,
Yes.
and I also vote yes. All right, good night, everybody. We'll see you week from Sunday,
Mm.
9 a.m.
What time is that, Bob? Week from
9
Sunday?
a.m.?
9 a.m. Okay, great. At the gates.
Yes.
All right.
All right, good night.
Good night,
Good night,
everyone.
everyone. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.